the Jacksonville Jaguars will have a dynamic 1-2 punch as far as that lightning and thunder type combination. What's up, guys? This is Keith Sanchez from the Draft Network, here to talk about the Jacksonville Jaguars and do a little recap of their 2022 draft class. This draft class was very important for the Jaguars because they had to kind of move on from the Urban Meyer era and start the Doug Pederson era, and that means it's year 2 for quarterback Trevor Lawrence, and then also the rest of these offensive weapons that they signed. They really have to get some cohesiveness going and really get this thing turned around, because you would hate to waste a generational talent like Trevor Lawrence. So with their first pick, the Jacksonville Jaguars kind of went off the beaten path a little bit and went with Georgia defensive end Trayvon Walker. Trayvon Walker is a versatile defensive end that's played everything from nose tackle to defensive end to stand-up outside linebacker to even stack linebacker, and he's done all of this at 275 pounds. So while everybody thought the Jaguars would go with a guy like Aiden Hutchinson, I think Trayvon Walker really fits this defense well because he can play multiple positions along this defensive line and really get pressure along the quarterback, and that's something that the Jaguars really need. So for me, this was an A+ pick, and I really love this guy's versatility up front. With their second pick in the first round, the Jaguars gambled a little bit and they jumped back into the first round to draft Utah linebacker Devin Lloyd. From the beginning of the draft process to the end of the draft process, Devin Lloyd was hailed as the number 1 linebacker in this draft class, and it's because the film just jumps out to you. This guy makes plays on all levels of the defense as far as being an edge rusher where he can get sacks, as a stack linebacker. Then he also plays in coverage and he can get interceptions. So I think the Jaguars took the approach of, let's find that true leader in this defense to kind of man the middle of this defense and move forward. And I think they really found their defensive leader at the linebacker position. The Jaguars didn't have a second round pick. So fast forward to the third round, and in the third round, the Jaguars selected Kentucky guard Luke Falkner. Luke Falkner is an interior offensive lineman that can play either center or guard, and we know that the Jacksonville Jaguars have to fill a hole. So my projection for Luke Falkner is that he will be an immediate contributor to this team and probably a plus level starter. And I think that bodes well for Trevor Lawrence. We know that Trevor Lawrence is a generational talent at quarterback, but he needs the protection. And we've seen time and time again that generational talents are only as successful as the talent around them. And I think the best way to help this and circumvent this problem is to get Trevor Lawrence protection. So drafting Luke Falkner in the third round was a great selection. With their second pick in the third round, the Jacksonville Jaguars went back to the linebacker bucket again, and this time they drafted Wyoming linebacker Chad Mumma. Mumma is another versatile linebacker that can kind of cover that slot a little bit, and he can carry that second or third wide receiver vertical up the field. So in my thinking, I'm thinking that the Jacksonville Jaguars were saying, hey, you pair him up with Devin Lloyd, and now we have a versatile 1-2 combination to where we can move these guys all along the defensive front and really keep offenses guessing on where we're going to play these guys and then how we're going to attack them. Chad Mumma showed to be a very instinctual linebacker in college, and I think that those instincts would translate well to the NFL. I fully expect Chad Mumma to be a key contributor on third downs and then eventually grow into a role to where he's a 3-down starter. And once again, I think the Jaguars did a really good job of identifying talent and selecting a great player, especially in the third round at this selection. In the fifth round, the Jacksonville Jaguars snagged Ole Miss running back Snoop Conner. For many people, it seemed as though this was an unnecessary pick, but I think the Jacksonville Jaguars were somewhat projecting their running back room forward. Last year, they drafted Travis Etienne, right? And Travis Etienne is kind of that lightning, flash, and dash type running back. And then they have him paired with James Robinson, who's that bowling ball. He's kind of the thunder type guy. But we all know that running backs, they age pretty fast, right? So with Snoop Conner, I think he's a guy that's going to be on the roster. He may not play a lot this upcoming year, but I expect him fully by year 2. He will be the starter, and I think that the Jacksonville Jaguars will have a dynamic 1-2 punch as far as that lightning and thunder type combination. So Snoop Conner, I love as a running back prospect, and I think he will play really well alongside of Travis Etienne. In the sixth round, the Jacksonville Jaguars decided to go and address the defensive back room and draft cornerback from Wichita Baptist, Gregory Jr. Jr. is another high-level football player that's a great athlete, and I think that the Jacksonville Jaguars thinking that, hey, in the sixth round, let's draft a guy with high upside, and that's usually what you see teams do. I do think that Gregory Jr. has high upside, and while he may not be a projected starter this year, maybe into year 2 or year 3, this is a player that you will start to see have significant play time moving forward. In the 7th round, the Jacksonville Jaguars drafted cornerback from Arkansas, Monteric Brown. Monteric Brown finished the season with 5 interceptions and was named to the first team All-SEC team. So that lets you know that you're getting a high caliber football player. And quite frankly, I was surprised that this player was still available. Monteric Brown is a guy that I believe he will enter training camp, show the coaches really what he's made of, and don't be surprised, Jaguar fans, if this is a guy that's on the field early and often and he's competing for a starting position. So there you have it, Jaguars fans. That was my draft recap of the Jaguars 2022 draft class. So let me know what you guys think. And make sure you subscribe to the Draft Network YouTube channel for all of your NFL draft, and college football needs.